Ever wondered what school lunches were like in the 70s? From decadent double fudge cake to savory sloppy Joe sandwiches, let's take a delicious trip down memory lane and explore the iconic meals that made cafeteria history. If you were to describe school lunches today, calling them ultra-processed and unhealthy would be the perfect way to sum it up. Now, compare this to the 1970s, when kids looked forward to hearty, nutritious dishes that delighted their taste buds. If you've ever wondered what school lunches were like during their prime, join us as we travel back in time to discover 20 school lunches from the 1970s that you won't find today. 1. Tortilla dogs. Let's kick things off with a fun twist on a classic, the tortilla dog. By the early 70s, this innovative spin on the traditional hot dog had become a cafeteria favorite. Imagine a juicy hot dog snugly wrapped in a soft tortilla, creating the perfect handheld meal. The tortilla would crisp up slightly on the outside, while the hot dog inside stayed moist and full of flavor. These simple delights were beloved for their ease of preparation and cost effectiveness, making them a popular choice in school cafeterias. To make tortilla dogs, you just needed hot dogs, tortillas, and maybe a slice of cheese for extra indulgence. It was as easy as rubbing the hot dog in a tortilla, securing it with a toothpick, and baking it until golden brown. The result? A satisfying grab-and-go meal for busy students. While they may not have been the healthiest option, tortilla dogs provided a tasty and convenient meal that fueled students through their afternoon classes. 2. Ham and cheese sandwich. Next up, the ever-popular ham and cheese sandwich, a lunchtime classic that reached its peak in the 1970s school cafeterias. This simple yet comforting meal consisted of soft white bread, deli ham, and American cheese. It was straightforward but satisfying, offering students a familiar taste and a dose of nostalgia. School cafeterias loved this sandwich because it was cheap, easy to prepare, and required no cooking, making it ideal for mass production. The ham and cheese sandwich was a safe, reliable option for students who craved comfort in the middle of their school day. Some cafeterias might have added a leaf of lettuce or a dab of mustard, but the classic combo of ham, cheese, and bread was the hero. This sandwich was more than just a meal. It was a reminder of home-packed lunches and a safe bet among more adventurous cafeteria offerings. To recreate it at home, just layer ham and cheese between 2 slices of bread. Cut it diagonally for that classic cafeteria vibe, and you're transported right back to the 1970s lunch table. 3. Grilled cheese sandwiches. Last but certainly not least, the grilled cheese sandwich, a lunchtime favorite that dominated school cafeterias in the 1970s. With its crispy golden brown exterior and gooey melted cheese inside, it was the epitome of comfort food. The grilled cheese sandwich was simple to make yet utterly satisfying, and it became a staple in lunchrooms everywhere. Served with a side of tomato soup. For the ultimate pairing, this dish provided a warm and comforting break from the day. Its popularity never waned, as students loved the crispy texture and cheesy goodness that came with every bite. Whether served on its own or paired with a warm beverage, the grilled cheese sandwich captured the essence of a perfect school lunch in the 70s. These iconic school lunches from the 1970s not only offered comfort and convenience, but they also added a touch of joy to the school day. Looking back, it's clear that lunchtime was more than just a break. It was a chance to enjoy some seriously tasty treats. This gooey masterpiece was a true comfort food classic, featuring 2 slices of white bread generously buttered on the outside, with a thick slice of American cheese melted to perfection in the center. Its simplicity might almost make you overlook how delicious it was, but it remained a true champion of school cafeterias. Grilled cheese sandwiches earned their place as a lunchtime favorite for several reasons. They were cheap to produce, easy to make in large quantities, and loved by students. The crispy, buttery bread combined with the gooey, melted cheese created a comfort food that was irresistible. Cafeteria staff could whip up batches of these sandwiches quickly on large griddles, and some schools even served them with a side of tomato soup for dipping, creating a perfect pairing that students looked forward to. Grilled cheese sandwiches provided a warm, filling meal that powered students through their afternoon classes. 4. Beef fillet. Next, we have a Tex-Mex inspired dish that tantalized the taste buds of 70s kids, beef fillet. This dish combined seasoned ground beef, vegetable, and rice, topped with a sprinkle of cheese, creating a fusion of a taco and a casserole. Beef fillet brought a southwestern flair to school cafeterias nationwide and became popular as Tex-Mex flavors began to capture American palates. It was cost-effective for schools, allowing them to stretch a pound of ground beef to feed many hungry students. Plus, it sneakily incorporated vegetables into the meal, which was a win for picky eaters. To make beef fillet, cooks would brown ground beef with onions and peppers, add taco seasoning, mix in cooked rice and sometimes corn, and then top it with shredded cheddar cheese. The dish was baked until bubbly and golden, offering students a satisfying and flavorful meal. Beef fillet was beloved for its mild spice and irresistible melted cheese topping, making it a unique and tasty option among typical school fare. 5. Hot lunch pizza. No list of 1970s school lunches would be complete without hot lunch pizza. From the moment it made its debut, this rectangular slice of heaven claimed its place as the king of school lunches. It featured a thick, slightly sweet crust, topped with tangy tomato sauce and a generous layer of melted mozzarella cheese. Some lucky students even found crumbled sausage or pepperoni on their slice, depending on how adventurous their school got. Hot lunch pizza revolutionized the school cafeteria experience, cost-effective, easy to prepare, and wildly popular among students. The pizza crust, often made from government surplus flour, gave it a unique texture and helped keep costs down. Nutritionally speaking, it hit all the major food groups, at least by 1970s standards. To recreate this cafeteria classic, you'd spread pizza dough on a large sheet pan, top it with sauce and cheese, and bake it until golden and bubbly. The result was cut into rectangular slices that students eagerly awaited. Hot lunch pizza day was often considered the best day of the week in school cafeterias. 6. Sticky cream buns. Sticky cream buns had a long, sweet reign in school cafeterias throughout the 1970s, becoming a lunchtime staple. These sweet treats featured soft, pillowy buns slathered in a sweet, creamy frosting that inevitably ended up not just in mouths but on fingers and faces as well. Sticky cream buns were economical to produce in large quantities and had a decent shelf life, making them a great option for school kitchens. But let's be honest, their main appeal was that they were essentially dessert masquerading as a legitimate lunch item, much to the delight of students. To make these sweet sensations, bakers would prepare a basic sweet dough, cut it into buns, and generously coat them with a mixture of powdered sugar, milk, and vanilla. After baking, some adventurous schools would add cinnamon or raisins, but the classic version was simply sticky, sugary goodness. Students loved sticky cream buns for the sweet boost they gave them in the middle of the school day, offering a fun break from typical lunch options. 7. Chili burgers. Next up, the chili burger, a hearty hybrid that combined two beloved classics, the hamburger and chili. Imagine a juicy burger patty nestled in a soft bun, topped with a ladle of savory chili. It was a messy masterpiece that delighted students across the nation. Chili burgers were simple to prepare in large quantities, made good use of government surplus beef, and packed a protein punch that kept students satisfied. Plus, they added a bit of fun to lunchtime with their messy nature, making eating them a strategic challenge to avoid wearing lunch for the rest of the day. To prepare chili burgers, you'd start with a basic burger patty on a bun. Then top it with a generous scoop of beef chili. Some schools even got creative, adding cheese or onions to the mix. Students loved chili burgers for their bold flavor and the excitement they brought to the lunch tray. 8. Jello fruit salad. Finally, we have Jello fruit salad, a colorful and fun dish that became a cafeteria superstar. This vibrant creation featured rainbow-colored Jello cubes mixed with canned fruit cocktail, all suspended in a cloud of whipped topping. It was like having a party on your lunch tray. Jello fruit salad became popular because it was inexpensive, easy to prepare ahead of time, and contained fruit, which gave it a health halo, at least by 1970s standards. This sweet treat added a fun element to school lunches, and students eagerly anticipated it. To make this wonder, you'd prepare different flavors of Jello, cut them into cubes and mix them with canned fruit cocktail. Then fold it all into whipped topping, creating a light sweet treat. Some schools added mini marshmallows or coconut flakes for extra pizzazz. Students adored Jello fruit salad for its sweet flavor and fun texture. The wiggly, jiggly nature of the dish made it inherently entertaining to eat, adding an element of joy to every bite. Just like the burst of color Jello brought to lunch trays, our next entry delivered an explosion of savory goodness to school cafeterias. Chicken pie. 9. Chicken pie. For decades, chicken pie was a staple in school cafeterias across the country, warming the hearts and bellies of students with its comforting flavors. This dish featured a golden, flaky crust encasing a creamy filling of tender chicken, vegetables, and savory gravy, creating a warm, comforting hug at lunchtime. Chicken pie earned its place in school cafeterias for a few reasons. It was a practical way to use surplus chicken, it offered a filling and nutritious meal, and it gave cafeteria staff the chance to sneak extra vegetables into students' diets without complaints. The best part? It was easy to prepare in large batches, making it ideal for busy school kitchens. To make this classic dish, cooks would start with a basic pie crust, fill it with a mixture of cooked chicken, peas, carrots, and a creamy gravy. Some schools opted for a biscuit topping instead of a full crust, but the result was always the same: savory chicken-filled comfort in every bite. On chilly days, nothing could beat the warmth and comfort of a slice of chicken pie. 10. Banana cream pie. Next up, a sweet treat that brought a little piece of heaven to school lunch trays: banana cream pie. This dreamy dessert made its debut in the 70s and quickly became a beloved favorite. It featured a flaky crust filled with silky vanilla custard, topped with slices of ripe banana and crowned with a cloud of whipped cream. It was the kind of dessert that brightened up any school day. Banana cream pie earned its place in students' hearts for several practical reasons. It provided a clever way to use up overripe bananas, could be made in large batches, and could be prepared ahead of time. To make this creamy delight, you first need to bake a pie crust, fill it with thick vanilla custard, layer it with ripe banana slices, and top it with a generous dollop of whipped cream. Some schools even added a sprinkle of vanilla wafer crumbs on top for an extra touch of flavor. Students adored banana cream pie for its perfect balance of creamy custard, sweet bananas, and fluffy whipped cream. It was a refreshing change from the usual cafeteria fare, offering a sweet, indulgent treat that felt like a special occasion. 11th, chicken salad sandwich. Our next entry isn't a pie, but it's just as much of an indulgence. The chicken salad sandwich. Calling this dish a school lunch staple would be an understatement. School kids were absolutely obsessed with the chicken salad sandwich and couldn't get enough of it when it was lunchtime. This classic sandwich featured tender chunks of chicken mixed with mayonnaise and sometimes crunchy celery, all nestled between two slices of soft white bread. It was a refreshing alternative to the usual hot lunches. Chicken salad sandwiches earned their spot in school lunch history for several reasons. They were simple to prepare in large quantities, easy to assemble, and offered a cool, refreshing change from the typical cafeteria fare, whether on a hot day or when students needed a lighter option. The chicken salad sandwich was a lunchtime favorite that kept everyone coming back for more. The iconic double fudge cake, a treat that took school lunches to the next level. This indulgent dessert was a chocolate lover's dream, featuring a rich, fudgy base topped with a gooey layer of hot fudge that melted in your mouth. Double fudge cake became the crown jewel of school cafeterias, a dessert so decadent that students would eagerly wait for lunch to roll around just to get a slice. The best part? It was easy to make in large batches, which made it a perfect choice for feeding hungry students. Preparing this delectable cake was a simple yet satisfying process. Cafeteria staff would start with a thick, moist chocolate cake batter, baking it to perfection before drizzling the hot fudge sauce on top. The cake would be served warm, the fudge oozing into every bite, creating a mouth-watering experience that was impossible to resist. For added indulgence, some schools even topped it with a dollop of whipped cream or sprinkling of chocolate chips. Students couldn't get enough of the double fudge cake. It was a rich, sweet treat that offered comfort and joy all at once. Its delicious combination of chocolate cake and fudge sauce made it an instant classic. And no matter what else was on the menu, the double fudge cake was always the star of the show. This unforgettable dessert turned an ordinary school lunch into something extraordinary, and it's still remembered fondly by those lucky enough to have tasted it. Double fudge cake. This indulgent dessert featured 2 layers of moist decadent chocolate cake with a fudgy filling in between, all topped with even more rich chocolate icing. It was the ultimate treat for any chocoholic, and it became an instant classic in school cafeterias. Double fudge cake earned its place in the School Lunch Hall of Fame for a number of reasons. It was simple to prepare in bulk, used basic ingredients, and offered a perfect way to use up surplus cocoa powder. Most importantly, it was an irresistible chocolate overload that kids couldn't wait to devour. Creating this indulgent treat was a breeze for cafeteria cooks. They would bake a basic chocolate cake batter, layer it with fudgy frosting, and then top it off with even more chocolate icing. Some creative schools even added chocolate chips to the batter for an extra indulgent twist. Students loved double fudge cake for its intense, rich chocolate flavor. It wasn't an everyday offering, which made it even more special when it appeared. Sheet cake was the go-to treat in the 70s, gracing school lunch trays during birthdays, holidays, and special events. This rectangular, sweet cake, usually topped with a thick layer of frosting and colorful sprinkles, meant it was time to celebrate. Sheet cake earned its place in cafeteria history because it was easy to prepare in large quantities, simple to serve, and perfect for feeding a crowd. It was also versatile. Flavors and decorations could be adjusted to suit any occasion, making every day with cake at school feel like a party. Making this fan favorite was easy. Cooks would prepare a basic cake batter, pour it into large pans and bake it. Once cooled, a thick layer of buttercream frosting was spread on top, and schools would get creative by adding food coloring or writing special messages for birthdays or holidays. Students loved sheet cake for its fun factor and fluffy, sweet texture. That perfect balance of soft cake and creamy frosting was a heavenly combination that won everyone over. Baked ravioli. If there's one dish that had a comforting, home-cooked feel in school cafeterias, it was baked ravioli. This Italian-American favorite featured tender pasta pockets stuffed with cheese or meat, nestled in a tangy tomato sauce, and topped with melted cheese. It was a warm, cheesy delight that students couldn't resist. Baked ravioli became a cafeteria staple for its simplicity, ease of preparation, and ability to be made in bulk. It also offered a good way to sneak in vegetables, thanks to the sauce, while keeping students fueled up for the afternoon. The process was straightforward. Cooks would layer cooked ravioli in large pans with tomato sauce, add cheese and bake until bubbly. Some creative kitchens added ground beef or spinach to the sauce for an extra nutritional boost. The mix of soft pasta, tangy sauce, and melted cheese was a guaranteed hit with students. Sloppy Joes. It's hard to imagine a more iconic lunchtime treat than Sloppy Joes. This messy, saucy sandwich featured a soft hamburger bun piled with a sweet, tangy mixture of ground beef, tomato sauce, and spices. It was a burger that threw the rules out the window and let loose. Sloppy Joes became a cafeteria favorite because it was inexpensive to make, easy to serve, and used up government surplus ground beef. More importantly, it was a filling, flavorful meal that kept kids energized through their afternoon classes. Cooks would brown the ground beef, add tomato sauce and spices, then let it simmer into a thick, tangy sauce. The mixture was generously spooned onto soft buns, with some schools adding diced onions or peppers for extra flavor. Students loved the chaos of trying to eat it without spilling, making lunch an exciting challenge. Apple cobbler. Apple cobbler is a dessert classic that doesn't get enough recognition. This homey dish, made with tender, spiced apples bubbling under a golden, crumbly topping, brought a touch of autumn to the cafeteria. Apple cobbler was a favorite for several reasons. It was easy to prepare in bulk, used the basic ingredients, and counted as a serving of fruit, at least by the 1970s standards. Its warm, sweet aroma filled the cafeteria, making it a comforting treat for students. The process was simple. Cooks would mix sliced apples with sugar, cinnamon, and a bit of flour, then top it with a simple batter or streusel and bake it until golden. For extra indulgence, some schools served it with a dollop of vanilla ice cream or whipped cream. Students loved apple cobbler for its nostalgic, comforting taste. It was like a slice of grandma's homemade dessert, right at school. Whipped potatoes. Whipped potatoes were the epitome of comfort food. This fluffy, creamy side dish was a staple on school lunch trays and paired perfectly with everything from meatloaf to chicken. Whipped potatoes were easy to make, inexpensive, and provided a great way to use surplus potatoes. More importantly, they were versatile and could be paired with nearly any main dish. The process was simple. Cooks would boil potatoes, mash them with milk and butter, and whip them until light and fluffy. Some schools even added garlic or cheese for extra flavor. The fluffier the potatoes, the better they were, and students couldn't get enough of the smooth, comforting texture.